was there over her smashing her every day. He's lucky she didn't get pregnant, to be honest. I didn't hear no condoms being used there.
No, they did, remember?
Did they?
Unless it's a different book. No, they did. I think towards the end, he said...
towards the end?
No, wait. Towards the end, he said, I don't have a condom. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's cool. Or something like that.
Never listen to women when they say that. It's cool. It would not be cool. So here we are again. The philosopher who fancies herself a writer of fiction. Normal People reads like a collection of fables about a few characters who attempt to navigate life amongst a sea of tough choices, peer pressure, problematic relationships, and dare I say, alcoholism. No book is without its merit, but if stories with action and plots are your cup of tea, then consider this book a black Americano. There was a lot to take from this book, a lot of food for thought to chew on, and a lot of talking points. But for every compliment I could muster, I could equally mourn the lack of coherent dialogue, refusal to conform to accepted formatting practices, and the anticlimactic journey with no destination style of Rooney's literature. If you'll forgive my French, I like to describe her works as an unfinished wank.
Edging.
She's edging, that's what it is. She's edging us, and we will not be finishing. You just scroll to the end, you get that acknowledgement, so you know the book's over.
You know what, funnily enough, as I was reading it, I was getting close to the end of the book. When I say there was 4 minutes left, and I'm thinking, wait, hold on.
What's the point?
No, I was thinking, wait, hold on, there can't be 4 minutes left. Oh, the leg day, my legs are hurting. But yeah, no, I was thinking, wait, no, this can't be it, sort of thing.
All this is. It can.
But yeah, what did you think of the book? Pause this video right now. Go and read Normal People by
Sally Rooney. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
Yeah, did you like it?
Surprisingly, I did like it.
Really? I didn't like it.
You didn't?
I didn't like it.
I
much prefer Intermezzo.
I did like it.
Intermezzo was leaps and bounds ahead of this. This was it's a bit normal. No, it was a bit. You
taking a piss?
You know, it was a bit boring. You know, I didn't really like it. Obviously.
Fair enough. I understand why somebody wouldn't like it, but I kind of am confused why you didn't like it. Considering a lot of the reasons why I didn't like it is because of the form that I choose to read it in, as opposed to.
Wait, a lot of reasons you didn't like it.
Yeah, a lot of the reasons I didn't like it.
You can't know if the audio book would be better.
That's a good point, I suppose.
So yeah,
you mean you like to say audiobooks is always better? So.
No, it is better, but you can't. So you can't know it.
So I was right.
Well, I can't know that it was better. To be fair, because
why did you say it?
Because it probably is. Why
wouldn't chatting shit? That's why.
The audiobook would be better, though, wouldn't it? Wait, you've got probably more than me, so I'll go first.
Why does that make sense?
I don't know. It doesn't actually.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Sally, I trusted you, and you betrayed me. No speech marks again. What is this fascination you have with deliberately bamboozling your readers into submission? What do you have against the King's English? So for those who like to listen to audiobooks, it seems to be a quirk of Sally Rooney's writing profile that none of her dialogue is bracketed by the Oxford English speech marks, which is something of an accepted practice in literature. This isn't even reinventing the wheel. This is worse. This is like driving a car with a blacked out windshield. You know you're moving, you just don't know where.
Sounds like Fake Taxi.
Yeah. Where to, love? But yeah, no, you'll be reading. You'll be reading, and you won't know who's speaking.
I figured it out. Audible is paying her. They have to be.
That would be genius. That would be a genius.
Because now she sells millions of copies. People are like, oh, Sally Rooney, we've got to go to Audible. How much money is that making? They just pay her a couple mil.
All she did was leave off some speech marks.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't even cost anything. Saved ink.
Yeah.
Do we just hack the economy?
We?
That's we're not French.
I figured it out. The
only reason you figured it out is because I read the bloody...
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even know that it was, the same. I wonder if that's all her books. I think I'm done with Sally Rooney, though, honestly. I thought I would like this, but I didn't. So, end of. But yeah, I don't really like this. I can respect the style of no plot. I can respect it. It's something different, and you really have to be creative. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to move along the narrative and stuff like that. I respect it. I just don't like it. Sorry.
Do you know what? I don't know if I respect it yet. I don't know if I respect it.
Why? You have to respect it.
Okay. But what if I don't?
No, but you have to.
But what if
because the reason why you have to respect it is because it attempts to do what all the books with a plot does.
Right. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. That's all
reader.
fine. But I think when we start saying things like, I respect a book with no plot. I respect a phone with no screen. You know, I respect a chair you can't sit on. There's like a level, there's a line where you become a hipster now, where it's like, what is this? Is this supposed to do something for me or not? You know? So I just feel like, it's not to say that her writing doesn't deserve respect. It's not to say her writing doesn't deserve respect. I'm just saying we need to be very conscious of where that line is, where something needs to have a function. And removing the function can't be the selling point. Yeah, but just to be different.
Is the plot the function?
You know, oh, my iPhone is better than yours because it doesn't have a charging port. I need to buy a charging port to plug into the, like, or I need to buy an extra headphone jack. Like, your
I get what you're saying, but do you respect the fact that she doesn't have a plot?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Cool. I need to read some more Sally Rooney.
Let me go first.
To pause this
no,
video
you
right
wait.
now.
You need to go.
I already went.
Let me go then. At first glance, Connell and Marianne's relationship seems to be one of equals, but on closer inspection, it's shaped by class dynamics and shifting power structures. In school, Connell is socially powerful but economically insecure, while Marianne is socially ostracized but financially comfortable. Outside of school, these roles reverse. Marianne thrives at Trinity College, surrounded by people who admire her, while Connell struggles with imposter syndrome and a deep sense of not belonging. This imbalance isn't just circumstantial, it's the foundation of their misunderstandings. One key example is Connell's refusal to stay at Marianne's apartment when he can't afford rent. It's not just about money, it's about pride, masculinity and self-worth. He'd rather suffer than accept her help, seeing it as an act of charity rather than love. You know, he procrastinated about asking Marianne to stay right up until the last minute, and then before he knew it, he missed his opportunity. I think this was Sally Rooney's way of trying to show how class shapes identity and relationships, sometimes in ways we don't even realise, which is interesting because had he not come from a working class background, he might not be so concerned about stoicism and masculinity, which is something that is more important to the working class man. You know, he should be the provider and the protector. And I don't know if these things are as important to the men of the upper classes. So my question is, if Connell and Marianne had come from the same social class, would their relationship have been smoother? Or does struggle and relationships just come hand in hand regardless of class?
Struggles and relationships definitely come hand in hand regardless of class. I don't know.
Relationships with women do.
Yeah, 100%. That was silent, that part. But they knew what I meant. Yeah, there's no such thing as a relationship without struggle. And I feel like it needs struggle because if you don't struggle for something, it's not worth anything. If something's easy, it's not really worth anything.
Really? So if a rich man came in and said, do you want the keys to my Ferrari? Oh, no, you want to work for it? Okay, no problem.
Well, no. First of all...
you were like, no.
First of all, I can't drive. So. What do I need with a Ferrari? Right? Take some pictures with it. And then after that, can't do nothing. Enough. Tut Connell. This boy has ice in his veins. Conflicted by how much he likes Marianne, confused by how right it feels to have sex with her every day after school, Connell still can't bring himself to claim Marianne in public. She's too ugly and too weird, and he won't admit it to himself or even to his mother. In this instance, Marianne is like a moped, fun to ride, but you don't want your mates to see you on one. In a bizarre yet predictable attempt to cling onto his life, Connell asks Rachel Moran to go with him to a party, not Marianne. When his mother Lorraine finds out, she blows up, calls Connell a bloody disgrace, and tells him that she's ashamed of him. It was an interesting scene, hopefully nothing close to the fallout that we will see when Marianne finds out, which was nothing, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And she will find out. Women don't always know what your favourite movie is or when your football team plays or what PlayStation game you like, but they know what bitches you like for sure. What I found really interesting is how hypocritical of a reaction Lorraine gives her son, to the point of telling this straight-A student who drives around for free that she is ashamed of him. Let's not forget who the single mother is here and who is the child still succeeding despite not having a father before we get judgmental, Lorraine. Lorraine should know better than others that people don't always make the best choices, but that doesn't mean they are terrible people. So for her to blow up and say, I'm bloody ashamed of you, disgrace, for some child that's not even hers, you know, I feel like she could have had a much more level-headed discussion with him and say, you know, son, you shouldn't always, I know she's not the prettiest girl, let's just keep it a band. She's not the prettiest girl.
Yeah, I do you know what? You've touched on something that I'm speaking about later. So you've ruined my point, but Yeah, no, I don't know. I think they just wanted her to be more, not feminist, but they wanted her to be for the girls.
Yeah, I understand
the mother.
that.
But
I understand
but
that.
definitely
But
she should have had a conversation, especially as she has to play both roles, mother
yeah,
and father.
exactly.
She should have.
Exactly. I bet on Father's Day she wants that card though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It would have been interesting to know exactly what happened with his father, because in some of the dialogues we heard even Connell saying, "Oh, how did I get here then?" sort of thing. Like when his mum tried to say, I don't know what she tried to say. She's an independent woman or something like that. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, how did I happen then?" sort of thing. But I was never touched on.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very hypocritical of her to especially to blow up on him in that direct. Because like, let's not forget, this guy ain't doing drugs. He's not on the street. You know, he's not a criminal. He's a straight A student that drives her around for free and, you know, succumb to peer pressure once. So, which is a very normal thing for children to go through. So I don't know if it was the best. But you know, people aren't perfect.
Yeah, normal people aren't perfect. Forget cheating, betrayal, or dramatic fights. The villain in this novel is miscommunication. Connell and Marianne claim that they love each other deeply, but they repeatedly fail to say what they mean. A small but devastating example is when Marianne tells Connell that she would do anything he wants, and he recoils. That makes him feel uncomfortable. He doesn't want her submission, he wants an equal relationship. But to Marianne, the reaction felt like a rejection, as if she is inherently unworthy of love. In reality, Connell is simply afraid of the intensity of her self-negation. If they had just talked openly about what they needed from each other, so much pain could have been avoided. This theme continues throughout their relationship. Connell struggles with expressing his emotions, worried about how he's perceived, while Marianne assumes rejection is inevitable due to her own self-worth issues. They drift apart not because of a lack of love, but because they are scared to demand more from each other. It's a realistic depiction of how relationships fail, not in dramatic explosions, but in quiet moments of hesitation and misunderstanding. So, is love alone enough to sustain a relationship, or does normal people suggest that clear communication is just as essential?
Since nobody can agree on what love is, as we've gone over many times.
Well, I think this book, it didn't directly try to explain it, but it tried to show it.
Yeah,
it tried to show it,
and it seemed like,
and it seemed like the definition of love is always being there for that person, because whether Marianne was in a relationship or not, when Connell got hit, punched up, something, I think got robbed, her boyfriend was there, and she said, yeah, you can stay, no problem, you know, you can come in, and they had history sort of thing. So it seemed like they were always there for each other. Even when Connell, you know, violated Marianne in terms of, you know, not asking her to ball or the prom or whatever it was a year later, she still kind of took him in and said, meet my friends, set him up with other girls and whatever. So,
and it wasn't long after that down the road that there was, you know, back to business.
So it seems like the book tried to show us what love is, and love seems to be always being there for someone, even when that person is against you or does something to you. It's unconditional love, basically.
Well, I heard a great quote where it said, being in love is not enough. You also have to choose love every single day. So, you know, maybe they've done something wrong. Maybe they've pissed you off. Maybe, you know, they're acting up or whatever, but you have to choose love every single day. And it's tough. And this is why people don't survive, you know. It's why couples and relationships, they don't survive, because it's tough. Sometimes
you got to chill. Wait, what did you say? You got to choose love.
Choose love
instead of yourself.
Exactly. You have to choose the union. You have to choose the union over yourself. And this is probably why, family is important, you know, because like, you couldn't stop being my brother. It just couldn't happen. Exactly. You know, it's done for life. Yeah. And like, no matter whatever we went through as children, next day you're still my brother. But it's like with relationships, you can just press that block button and it's over.
Swipe left.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You can delete them. But that is a great question. I have a better question. It's the question of the day. You meet a beautiful girl one day and exchange numbers. As your relationship blossoms, you also find out that she is funny. No, right? Funny woman, and a great match for you. Within 6 months, you are going steady and things are going great. One day, while at her place, you find that she has hidden a man's engagement ring in her box in her underwear drawer, and you realise that she is planning on proposing to you.
Take the ring, swallow it.
That was so fun, like there was no hesitation.
Well, now there's no engagement.
Do you pretend you never saw the ring and let the proposal go ahead?
No.
You know, you're going out to dinner. She's like, Elijah, there's something I want to tell
you know what? You don't want to ruin it at the same time. I mean, you don't want to like, because you know she's gone to all the effort and whatnot. I think you'd have to have a conversation with her.
And you have to be like, stop being
just
silly,
just say to her, have you ever thought about getting married? I wanted to propose to you. I think it's really important to me as a man that I've got to propose to you. I know there's some things going on in social media where women are, but that's not me. And then you gotta come with the communication.
Yeah,
that's the best thing to do because you can't.
The worst thing to do is do nothing.
Yeah, you can't just sit there. Oh, you know what you could do? You could do nothing, but just look out for any like. If she says, let's go to the restaurant, and you say, I'm not feeling well, I'm not, you go without me, sort of thing. You can swerve any sort of outing.
And never have fun ever again. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, you go to one restaurant, and then your family start turning up, or whatever, your friends are there, can you imagine?
Oh, God. The whole shebang.
But that's crazy, though, because we had this discussion at work, and this one guy I work with, he was like, he said, if you like me, why not? Get down your knees sort of thing. And he was like being like proper about it. And I was thinking a pro of being a man is that marriage is always in your control. You choose when you want to ask that question. You choose who you ask.
Yeah.
And it's like we're never in a position where we're just out one day, oblivious, and then out of nowhere, yes or no sort of thing. And, you get put on the spot. Like, somebody asks you, what's your favourite meal? You feel like you can put on the spot, innit?
Yeah,
or what's your favourite movie? You feel put on the spot. If someone says, do you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Yes or no? And everyone in the restaurant, say yes, honey, say yes. That must be a different kind of pressure,
Yeah, well, I think it's more pressure to get down on the knee to ask that.
I mean, no, 100%.
You get rejected in front of everybody.
Yeah, bro, that's peak.
You know them ones where they do it in the football stadium?
Yeah,
them baseball stadiums are bigger than football stadiums.
They're massive.
They're like 200,000 people
Fenway
there.
Park and that.
Getting
and on the
rejected
screen,
in front
you see them on the screen.
it must shrivel up.
Jesus.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Oh, God. What if you get down to one that you ask to marry you, she says, can you get up off the floor?
She says, no, ew.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine? Boy.
No, women are too scared to do that, They think something's going to happen to them if they do that. If they provoke.
Now you said it. Chloe's watching. Too scared, yeah? Watch this.
But yeah, you didn't miss a beat, No hesitation. Must take swallow it.
Well,
that's your solution.
That's my solution to a lot of things. Gets me out of a lot of problems, that one.
All right. We were robbed of the fallout of Connell and Marianne. The boy succumbs to peer pressure, a very normal thing for teens to go through, and attempted to sabotage his relationship with Marianne. On some level, Connell was probably relieved that he screwed things up. Now, he doesn't have to live two lives anymore. Still, it could have been more cinematic how Marianne finds out. She could have spontaneously gone to the event and seen them there together. Rachel could have told her in a nasty and provocative way, which would build our dislike for Rachel as well. Or Connell's mum even could have snitched on him, which I thought that would have fit her character, seeming like she's riding and dying for her. Each creative and entertaining, and instead Connell simply bit the bullet and told her. He tried to weasel out of what he was doing by saying he and Rachel were just friends, which is a classic line that all men are familiar with. There's a long way to go of the book just yet, but I feel as though an opportunity was missed here. But yeah, I was like, why bother just being upfront and telling her if you're going to say we're just friends?
Do you know what? I actually thought she was going to have it. To be fair.
Oh, you thought so?
I thought she was just going to say, yeah, whatever, cool.
Nah, she said, I've seen the good life. I'm not going back.
No, because they were not girlfriend, boyfriend at that point.
But this is exactly why, as soon as you sleep with a girl, if you do anything, they try and pin you down. What are we? Try and get a label out of you because you're going to do this. We're going to do this. They know what we're going to do. Just like we know what they're going to do. You take them out at one time, they want to do snaps with you or whatever, and you're like, get off them. We all know it's like this game that we play, and we don't say our side, they don't say their side, but everyone knows what's going on, man.
Oh god!
I saw this thing that said when you go on a holiday with this girl was like, I went on a holiday with my sugar daddy or whatever, and she's trying to take snaps and trying to get him out of the thing because obviously he's some old guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's trying to get him out, make it seem like she's just on a holiday by herself, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's all a game.
Connell's journey showcases something that we rarely ever see in fiction: the quiet suffering of men who don't know how to express vulnerability. Unlike Marianne, who externalizes her pain through destructive relationships, Connell internalizes everything, burying his emotions beneath stoicism and silence. His depression creeps in slowly, worsening after a personal loss until he reaches a breaking point. The scene where Connell finally opens up in therapy is powerful because it's almost like a chance for him to understand his own feelings. After repressing his emotions for so long, he allows himself to be honest about his pain. This moment is a critique of traditional masculinity, how young men are taught to endure pain quietly and how that silence can be more damaging than the pain itself. Connell's mental health struggle also contrasts with Marianne's self-destructive tendencies. While Marianne seeks out relationships where pain is inflicted on her, Connell suffers inwardly and invisibly, showing how men and women are conditioned to handle trauma differently. His story forces us to ask... actually, one thing I'll say is that Connell's mother could have done a better job to be there for her son. On occasions, it seemed like it was more important for her to be on the girls' team more than her son's team. The amount of times she sided with Marianne, which I don't blame her for, but she could have had a conversation with her son to see what he's thinking and feeling. Aren't women stereotypically the ones that want to talk about everything? You know, give advice and discuss feelings. So that was one thing that definitely, as we said, that Sally Rooney missed out on. I don't know why she decided to do that. Maybe she was teeing us up for Connell to be depressed. If he had someone in his corner, then he might not have...
I mean, depressed people have people in their corner. It's not every depressed person is
exactly
alone.
Which is another problem I had with the book.
She definitely could have. She could have done it. It's your book. You make it happen. This book feels like a therapy appointment. We've covered several relevant themes already: teenage pregnancy, the dangers of solo parenting, social anxiety, and still Sally Rooney continues the auto-psychoanalysis of the human psyche. I might have just made up a word there, but all words are made up. After Connell and Marianne split up, which might be a nice way to put it,
For the 10th time.
Yeah, for the 10th time. Connell goes through a period of low spirits that one might even call depression. His mother, teachers, and guidance counselors certainly seem to think so. Interesting to see the turntables. Connell was the popular one in high school and had friends and girls throwing themselves at him without even having to try. And Marianne was the lonely loser that essentially told himself that he was pity fucking. College, however, plays by different rules, and now Connell, after feeling like Marianne wasn't good enough for him, is now excruciatingly lonely. His relationship with Rachel fizzled out, and Connell learned the hard way, as many of us men have had to, that going for looks alone in women is often a miscalculation of epic proportions. You can walk into any building up and down the country and find pretty women in abundance, and it's for this very reason that looks alone are not valuable. Something Connell's father could have told him. Shame he hasn't got one of those, Lorraine? So, I just felt like she was hard on him, and I felt like he wasn't equipped with the right tools to make the right decisions in all the moments of his life, and that wasn't necessarily his fault.
Well, that's actually a good point, because a lot of people, I mean, it's complicated, but what I'll just say is a lot of adolescent people just get thrown into the dating pool. They don't get any advice. You might get the sex talk, where do babies come from? You might get that, and then... and as I was speaking,
fly buddy.
Yeah, but as I was speaking about that, I started to think, but isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Evolution, maybe we're not supposed to get advice from the people who came before us because the world's changing. I don't know, but you could at least try.
Yeah, you could.
At least try, so your children don't make the same mistakes as you.
100%, and he's very lucky he didn't, because
you don't have any meaningful advice to give to your children when they come along
yet. But he was there over her smashing her every day. He's lucky she didn't get pregnant, to be honest. I didn't hear no condoms being used there.
No, they did. Remember?
Did they?
Unless it's a different book. No, they did. I think towards the end, he said...
towards the end?
No, wait. Towards the end, he said, I don't have a condom. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's cool. Or something like that.
Never listen to women when they say that. It's cool. It would not be cool. It would not. When the babies come, they're going to be like, boy, baby's here. So, boy, do you know what I mean?
Might as well get married now.
Whatever we said... you see what I'm saying? Whatever was said or wasn't said, it don't matter no more. Rape culture and peer pressure. At a party, Connell's friend Eric is showing around naked pictures of her girl Lisa, expecting their approval. For the most part, Eric gets the reaction that he wants, but then Connell quietly says, bit fucked up showing those around, mate? Eric sighs loudly, puts his phone away and says, you've gone awfully gay about things lately. There's a lot to unpack in that scene alone, from homophobia to rape culture, but here Sally Rooney is showing us how men in the West live in a culture that pressures us to conform to certain behaviours via negative and positive reinforcement. Make fun of gays and treat women like shit, and you are rewarded with social currency, encouragement and attention. Speak up against these behaviours and you will be torn down and ridiculed. Men know it's wrong to share images of girls around. We know it's wrong to grope women in a club. We know upskirting is wrong.
Yeah, well, it is.
We know all of this, but what do we do when we see our friends doing it? Do we take them aside and say the right thing? As men, we know our words have weight. Men respect other men, which is why girls say, I have a boyfriend, when they want us to go away. If we see these sorts of things and we're not brave enough to stand up, say something, and take the mockery, can we really say not all men when we hear that a woman was raped or abused or worse?
Look at you, little pick-me.
What?
Stand up and call it out.
Listen,
you watch porn like the rest of us.
Listen,
you share it. And you like it.
I don't share it. I just save it to my favourites.
I don't share it, but I like it.
I love it.
Yeah. There was another thing as well in there. It's almost like it was Sally Rooney's attempt to indoctrinate us, like, as you said, oh, it's wrong, it's a bit fucked up. How many times did she talk about Palestine and Gaza in the book? She kept saying, "Oh, we're activists for Palestine."
Oh yeah, and these political sort of things. Yeah, and she mentioned like neo-Nazis. She was talking about that
multiple times. She kept saying those type of things. It's almost like she was brainwashing us when we know that Palestine are the bad guys. We know that already.
We want us to get shot, obviously. Wait, no, we get shot the other way around, wouldn't we? Yeah, if we said, that's the other way around, we get shot.
Yeah, exactly. I know the right way. I know who's the real bad guy.
Good.
And it's not Putin.
Do you have more?
Yeah.
How many more you got?
I think 2.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
While Connell's struggles are rooted in emotional suppression, Marianne's are rooted in self-destruction. Her relationships after Connell, especially with Jamie and Lucas, reveal that she doesn't believe she deserves love, only control and pain. She passively allows herself to be mistreated, seeing suffering as a form of validation. This stems from her childhood, where her abusive family conditioned her to believe she is fundamentally unlovable. Even in her relationship with Connell, power is always shifting. In school, she's submissive to Connell's needs for secrecy. But later, she holds the power. She introduces him to her social world and gives him financial support, which is where I found inconsistencies. Either she craves to be submissive or she doesn't. Why is it that when she's with Connell, she acts differently than the way she acts with most of her other partners? I think the author was a bit heavy-handed with Marianne's mental health. With mental health, 2 + 2 doesn't always equal 4. Just because you get abused by your family, it doesn't mean you want to get slapped up by your boyfriend. I think I would have liked to see a layer of complexity in terms of the reason why she puts up with violent and abusive men. I would have liked for the men to have provided some form of actual value to the relationship, such as love bombing, or actually value her for something such as her intelligence. But none of her boyfriends seemed to do that. They were just controlling her. Yeah. They were just, you're saying, open your legs, let me take the photo, you know.
That Swedish guy, innit?
The artist guy, you know.
Yeah.
Or, they're slapping her up, or this, that, and the other. Like, I would have liked to see some layer of complexity. Because if there was, if it was the guy with a bit of money, or the guy who liked to buy her flowers, but beating her up at night times, at least that kind of gives women who, in this day and age, some sort of insight to their relationships, because there are women who are with guys that put up with the bad because there's a bit of good.
Yeah, a bit of Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. So whereas in this, they were just bad. The guys were just bad. There was nothing good going for them. So
no means no, boys and girls. People know this, and people also act like this is an exclusively male problem. But give a girl a few glasses of Prosecco, gentlemen, and you will learn in the worst of ways that while we men have our issues taking accountability for our actions, women have their ways too. A few months after Connell and Marianne reunite for the 10th time, they find themselves at a party. Connell isn't drinking, but Marianne has been drinking all day. And one thing leads to another, and she throws herself at Connell, putting her body on his, demanding that he kiss her and have sex with her despite his repeated refusal of her advances.
Wouldn't have to tell me twice.
You got to tell me once. The morning after, Marianne attempts to apologise, and Connell waves her apologies away, saying, well, you were pretty wasted, and these things happen, which makes him an idiot, in my opinion. These things do not happen, and being drunk is not an excuse. If I'm wasted, I get into my car and kill somebody, I still go to prison. I can't say, sorry, Your Honour, but I was drunk. If you can't handle your liquor, you should stick to Capri Sun. But it is interesting to see how people of both genders are conditioned to excuse females of any amount of perverse misconduct, as if women were children that couldn't help themselves. This is only a small part of a much larger social phenomenon, the infantilization of women, but feeding into it is to contribute to the conditioning of women to believe that they cannot err, they cannot make errors, and all of their life's problems are the fault of a man somewhere, somehow. And we can see examples of this. If you're having sex with a woman and she can't orgasm, it's not because she doesn't know her body well enough or because she can't communicate her desires succinctly enough. It's because your dick ain't shit. And if you can't get hard, it means your dick ain't shit.
Yep.
In each circumstance, the common denominator is that the woman is absolved of accountability. And this is all because both men and women view sex as something a man does to a woman rather than experience both are sharing. Hence, if the woman doesn't orgasm, he must not have done it to her properly. But
who hurt you?
That's their favourite question, right? It's always one of them 4 things. Yeah. Who hurt you? You're gay, you're broke, you don't get any bitches. All of that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sometimes all of them.
Sometimes all of them.
Most times all of them.
Yeah, when I read that scene, I was furious with Connell for just dismissing. Oh, you are wasted.
Because if it was the other way around, it wouldn't just be.
I'm telling you, bro.
You know, he'd be going
slap
to
on the wrist,
jail,
going to Azkaban.
Here's my last one. One of the best things about Normal People is that it refuses to give us a traditional happy ending. There's no grand reunion, no final declaration of love that fixes everything. Instead, we get a moment of quiet acceptance. Connell gets the opportunity to move to New York and Marianne tells him to go. The last line, you'll go and I'll stay and we'll be okay. It's surprising because it doesn't confirm if they will ever reunite. And yet, the love between them feels more real than in most novels where the couples ride off into the sunset. Rooney suggests that love isn't always about staying together, it's about shaping each other's lives in ways that never truly fade. Their story is open-ended, which is true to life. Unlike most romance novels, where love is the solution to everything, Normal People presents a different idea. Love is powerful, but sometimes it's not enough. But does that make it any less meaningful? So, yeah, you know, does Normal People suggest that love is temporary, or does it argue that some connections last forever, even if people move apart? It didn't. That's one thing it didn't explain. Are they soulmates? Were they meant to be? Was it a decision for them to be together? Was it just circumstances?
Well, I don't know if you could say it's circumstances because they split up and got back together so many times, and it's like they're.
But it was an accident. It wasn't. They didn't seek each other out. They just met in college again.
It was an accident, but something keeps happening over and over and over again. Their attempt to break up was an exercise in futility. All evidence presented would say so. It really does come down to whether you believe each one person has one person. I know we've talked about this before, and you said stuff like, what if your one person was just only 3? But yeah, what if your one person was born 400 years ago? Which screwed. I thought was a great point. It's legit. Or you're not screwed, and you never will be. But yeah, it really comes down to, this is what I'm saying about this style of writing and these kinds of books. There's nothing definitive. There's only conversations that you can have.
Yeah, it's experience.
And we've had so many conversations already, man.
It's experience.
Like, we need you to write the book. We don't need you to try and get us to fill in the blank spaces for you.
She's trying to write the book in our heads.
She's not trying to write the book at all. She's just, collection of fables, collection of stories,
What's with the 3 months later, 3 months later, 3 months
later? Even that. Like,
I thought there was going to be some reason behind that.
Nah, there wasn't. Like I said, it was a collection of stories. It was just chronicling these 2 people's lives. And at the end, their lives end the same way everyone else's lives end. There's no massive, thing that you're waiting for. There's no crock of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's just the book ends. And you get to the acknowledgements. And I was like, what's the rest of them?
Yeah.
And it was it.
Would you read the sequel?
No, I don't want to continue reading books like this.
I'm done with this.
This was fine, but I don't want to continue reading books like this.
I said to you, and you know why I select the books that we...
Yeah, I know. And it's like we said, the last one we read, Leather and Lark. If we wasn't for this, I would have DNF'd that. I would have DNF'd it.
Yeah.
So I'll still read it if it's up, but I just don't want to. I just want to make it... No, I definitely don't want to. But let me do my last one anyways. Overall, I would say this book is more educational than entertaining. It reads like a book of fables, a collection of stories about some characters with underlying lessons about social relationships, the challenges people face on a daily basis, how people interact with other people. Again, I wouldn't call it a good book because when I read fiction, I like to read fiction. I want a plot. I want some action. I want a good villain. I want a heart-raising escape from the monotonous humdrum of washing clothes and paying bills. This just felt a little too close to real life for me, so I wouldn't categorize it as an escape.
Yeah.
And also, we still have the same issue of Sally Rooney raw-dogging her dialogue, no breaks for speech, no punctuation, so it's a lot of heavy lifting to do as the reader. This isn't a book you can read after a few glasses of wine. You'll get none of it.
Yeah.
There were some good things though. Like I said, it was like looking in a mirror at times. There was a lot to relate to because of how realistic there was. There were funny moments. So if you really, really like this whole philosophical dissertation style of books, then, you know, go for it.
This wasn't well, Intermezzo was like this on steroids.
Yeah.
Whereas this was a little bit
This
more
is entry
digestible.
level. Yeah, this is entry level.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to know. I want to grab her, sit her down, and you know,
or politely ask her to sit down, join us.
No,
for
but
the discussion.
What the fuck are you doing with the punctuation and whatnot?
That escapes me.
Do you think you're also doing something special?
The style of writing thing, I can kind of okay, cool.
Yeah.
But the punctuation really does fuck with me.
You're refusing to conform.
This wasn't a mistake.
No, come on.
This is purposeful.
Yeah.
You did it on purpose. And I want to know what your reason was. And I want you to stop. Do you know what I mean? It's just so strange. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know? Because I'm reading it. I'm like, I don't even know who's talking.
Yeah. Well, if that's you, done.
Yeah, that's me done.
What would you rate it?
I think 3 is probably very generous, but I'm going to stick with 3.
I think the thing is, I wanted to say 2, but because it has the underlying ideas behind things and stuff like that, it's technically complex and it's technically good, but it's very complex. Whether you enjoy it, it's like, are we rating it on how much we enjoyed it? Because I didn't enjoy it. But are we rating it on how good it is? Because it's quite a good book.
I'll change my answer. I want to say 2.
Let me see if I can talk it down to 1. Yeah, I don't know what I'd rate it. I wouldn't recommend it. If someone said to you, is it a good book? What would you say?
I'd probably say yes.
And then they say, should I read it?
I'll be like, no. It's fucked up, innit?
This is what I'm trying to say.
That's fucked up. That is fucked up.
So it doesn't really, well, boy. I don't know
Heard
what
it
to
here
say.
first.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about
Maybe
that.
we should just end with our quote of the day.
Yeah, go on then. Our quote of the day.
Yeah, I know, right? Quote of the day. I may be drunk, miss, but tomorrow I will be sober and you will still be ugly.
Ooh.
That was Churchill. Winston Churchill apparently said that to some woman who called him a drunk. That
sounds about right.
He called him a drunk. And he took his cigar out and said, yeah?
Never insult a drunk man. But yeah, listen, until next time.
Until next time.